Welcome back, guys. And in this video I'm going to be going over the South Sydney Rabbitohs and the New Zealand Warriors. Before I get into it, if you've been liking the content, remember to hit the thumbs up and to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But anyway, into it. The Rabbitohs first up. So the first player I'm going to talk about is Cody Walker. As some people would know, he's one of my favourite players in the NRL. He'll be moving back to the six jersey this year, with Wayne Bennett coming back, or going back to the Rabbitohs, I should say. Yeah, Cody will end up playing 6. He finished 2024, well, the back half of 2024, he was mostly playing 7, and Jack Whiten was playing 6. Was probably their best halves combination that they had in 2024. But coming into 2025, yeah, Cody Walker will be the 5'8". In Supercoach, he's available as dual 5'8" and halfback. He's priced at 559k. He only averaged 57.2. Rabbitohs had a pretty shocking season in 2024. Well, most would think that they would bounce back pretty well going into 2025. Should be a pretty big bounce back year for them, with Wayne Bennett arriving back at the club. Guys like Cody, also Latrell, who I'll talk about later. That should help the Rabbitohs to bounce back pretty well after a couple of shocking seasons, really. So yeah, Cody Walker was the first player. Dual 5'8" halfback. If they bounce back really well, he'll be a pretty good pick to have to start the year. Most 5'8s, from what I've noticed, they're not overly or overpriced, because it was a pretty dead position in 2024. 559k is actually a pretty good price, considering he because he averaged 57. He's a guy that, if Rabbitohs go really well, which most would probably expect with Wayne Bennett being back at the club, he could average like 70, 75 if they go on a big run in the coming season. The next player, Pete Marmazales, he'll be the main starting hooker for the Rabbitohs, with Damien Cook moving on to the Dragons. He's only 302k. He pretty much only played like 20-30 minutes most games. I think he played one game where it was like 55 or 60 minutes, and he scored pretty close to a point a minute in that game. So potentially, if he plays like 60 plus minutes, if he can average like 50 at least or something like that, it'd be good for generating cash early in the season. And then you can move on to another gun, like to an actual gun later on. Even though like hooker's one of those positions like front row, where they're not the biggest upside positions. But yeah, he'll be a good one for generating cash, and then you can get a gun later. The next on the list, Lewis Dodd. He's been brought over from St Helens. He played for them during the last couple of years of their run of premierships that they had. And then he also was part of the St Helens team that came out to Australia at the start of 2023 for the World Club Challenge against the Panthers. He actually kicked the winning field goal for the St Helens in that game. So he has in the past been part of a gun side over in the Super League. People probably undersell really the Super League, the level of the game. People probably undersell it a little bit, or a lot really, probably, from what I've heard and read. I don't watch a lot of it, but going by how the teams have played against the teams from Australia, they've either beaten them or they've been close to them. So yeah, I'd say he's probably a better player than what people probably think. So good value at 336k. Be interesting to actually see how he goes alongside Cody Walker in the halves. So yeah, I reckon he's a good pick. The next guy on my list, if he was going to be starting the season, I'd potentially probably start him in my team. Probably going to be, he'll be a pod because he's not one of those big gun players. At 2RF, I'm talking about Ewan Aiken. He's not one of those players like Angus Crichton or David Fafita, Eli Katoa, and guys like them. But he's like a big work rate, hard working player. You pretty much get a solid 60 out of him every week. If the Rabbitohs do go on a big run this season, I'd say more than likely when he is fit to play, he'll probably play more than likely on the left edge, next to Cody Walker. So if they're going on a big run when he ends up making his way into the team, probably a bit of upside being on an edge with Cody Walker, even though Cody is known for going to obviously the tries get scored by the winger or the centre more than likely. But you never know, you could put one inside to Aitken and put him through. So there's potentially a little bit of upside there now with him at the Rabbitohs, because he was playing when he was at the Dolphins, he was with different halves on his edge all the time. When he was playing in the back row, he played at centre mostly the year before that, and was still actually pretty good playing centre, even though he'd played mostly back row for the year or two before that. But yeah, he would be someone that I'd potentially have in my team, just because consistently he'll work hard. He'll make his tackles. He'll take runs. Also, a lot of runs as well. Not overly known for passing a lot. So when he does get the ball, you pretty much know he'll be tackled with the ball. Things like that. So yeah, he'd really interest me if he was going to be available. But he's aggravated he did his pec in 2024, so he's kind of aggravated it a little bit in the early part of the pre-season. So he's set to miss probably the first month of the season. So yeah, if he wasn't missing that, he's every chance that he'd probably be in my team instead of someone else, just because I know the consistency of his work rate and that. And then there's guys that I'd avoid probably in the Rabbitohs in their forwards at the beginning of the year, at least until we get to know their minutes, like Keon Kalamatangi. You don't know whether or not he might end up starting on an edge to begin the season with Ewan Aitken being out. You don't know whether or not he could end up being at lock because Cam Murray's out injured also for the early part of the season. But they do get guys back like Totola, Jai Arrow. They get those guys back as well as that kind of much for muchness really. You would know they're missing a couple of guys. They're getting a couple of guys back from injury. So yeah, for me, I'd probably avoid Keon until you know his proper role. If he ends up playing as a middle forward, like playing prop, for instance, I'd probably avoid getting him because he's only available at 2RF at the beginning of the year. If he ends up becoming a dual front row, then I'd probably get him in that position once he gets that dual, if he gets it. Otherwise, I'd probably avoid him. I wouldn't pick Totola, just because you don't know whether he's going to end up playing that 40 to 50 minutes again, or whether he's going to be eased in by Wayne Bennett or not. Don't know whether or not Arrow could potentially be on one of those back row spots to begin the year, or whether he's going to be a middle forward coming off the bench or starting a prop or something like that. Don't know. Josh Schuster, he'll probably be a popular one for people at the start of the season. Like he's cheap at 265k. He didn't like really play any footy in 2024 before Manly let him go. Wayne Bennett threw a lifeline out to him to sign at the Rabbitohs. I'd say at some point during the year he'll play. If he ends up getting into the side playing on an edge and playing 80 minutes, he'll 100% probably be a good pickup. Like he's got a history. When he was at Manly, when he played his first full season, he played in the back row and averaged 61, which is not too bad for a back rower. But if he can get like when he's fit and able to force his way into the team, and if he plays big minutes on an edge, then he'd probably be a good buy if he can get back to anywhere close to that 60-61 average that he had in 2021. I'm pretty sure it was when he played on the edge at Manly. So yeah, another player I just about forgot to mention, Campbell Graham. He missed all the last year and the back end of the year before that as well with a sternum injury, and then he's had to get multiple surgeries for it as well to help with the recovery from it. But he's going to be 505k. I wouldn't push back on anyone starting with him, although we don't 100% know for sure if he's definitely going to be starting, but I'd say he would be. He's had a history also in the past of averaging like 70 odd. So if he's even like 3/4 as good as he has been in the past, when he comes back from his injury, like if he does start at the beginning of the year, then he'll have some value, some definite value there. We could probably buy him and hold him for the whole rest of the year from when you get him. So anyway, that's pretty much the Rabbitohs. I actually did forget another couple of guys too. Ty Munro, he'll probably be on one of the wings. He's like a 397k or something like that. If he's playing on, say, the left wing where Alex Johnson would be, he'll be a really good pick. Otherwise, not anyone else really of note. Oh, Latrell Mitchell. Gosh, just about forgot him as well. How could I forget Latrell Mitchell? He's been getting himself really fit in the preseason. He averaged 88.5 in a year where it wasn't overly the best year for Latrell. He's been very injury riddled. He had injuries and suspensions. We've spent a lot of time out, especially the last probably 2 years. But under Wayne, or as soon as Wayne got there, he's sprayed him, and he's gotten himself in a really good shape. I probably expect him to have a really good year as well. So I wouldn't knock back anyone starting with him. He's 866k. He's the third most expensive fullback in Supercoach going into this year. He'll be the goal kicker, obviously, as usual, as long as he's fit to play. I expect a big year from him. So I expect, I wouldn't be against having him in your team. That's what I was trying to say. Anyway, moving on to the Warriors. So there's actually not an awful lot that I've got to go over with the Warriors, unfortunately. But SJ, Sean Johnson retired. Adam Fanua-Blake's gone to the Sharks, and Jazz Tafanga off to Manly. So my first player to actually talk about is Luke Metcalf, available at 5'8", I'd say he'd most likely be the guy starting at 6. He's at 443k. Only had like a handful of games, probably not even that, before he got injured last year. He's potentially going to be the goal kicker. It just depends on who his halves partner is, whether it's Tamari Martin or Tanner Boyd. If Tamari Martin ends up being the 7, then I'd say Metcalf would be the goal kicker then. If not, if Tanner Boyd ends up being the 7, I'd say Tanner Boyd would be the goal kicker. If that was to be the case, because he strikes the ball really well when he kicks that goal. So other players on the side like Chance, yeah, he's like good base, makes a lot of runs. Yeah, in the fullback position, like he's probably down a little bit below all the guys like Latrell and Tommy Turbo. Even Dylan Edwards would probably even be ahead of him realistically. And you've got Pappy. Gosh, who else? Even Reece Walsh even. There's a lot of guys probably at the Warriors for me that I'd probably avoid in Supercoach, especially like with the guys that they got gone, like the first 2 I mentioned, like Sean Johnson and AFB, with them gone, especially. I don't know really how they're going to go. They're probably going to still like potentially be where they were on the ladder again, because they don't have it's not like they're replacing them. Well, AFB, yes, they kind of are with James Fisher-Harris, but he's not really like for like. He's one of those guys that's a leader. He's not one of those ones where he's like a big barnstorming front rower like Adam Fanua-Blake. He doesn't have that kind of upside. Like Supercoach wise, I'd avoid him as well. Like he averaged 56 at the Panthers. Probably don't see realistically his minutes probably going up by too much. Because the only way that he'd realistically be worth getting would be if he was to average around the 60 plus mark. But he'd probably need more minutes, which I potentially don't really see him getting that many more minutes if he does. So yeah, I'd probably avoid him. Tohu Harris is probably another one I'd probably avoid. Spent a lot of time out last year. He's only available at 2RF. I'm pretty sure he was available as a dual last year. So he's only available at 2RF. So I'd probably avoid having him unless at some stage he gets, like if he ends up being a front rower during the season and he gets the dual. I'd probably avoid having him. Jackson Ford has a dual. He's 549k. I'd probably only have him as a front rower at any stage if I was to buy him at all. Otherwise for me, I'd probably avoid him as well. I'd probably avoid even Wade Egan at hooker, although if he'll play probably as long as he doesn't get any head knocks or injuries that puts him out. He'll play big minutes week in and week out. Whether he'll get the attacking stats is another thing. So for me, I'd probably avoid having him because there's like a few hookers that would probably be better than him anyway. Like your Harry Grants, potentially probably still your Damien Cooks. Amongst those guys anyway, I'd probably definitely have those guys ahead of him. And the one other guy I want to mention, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, or RTS. For me, I'd have him in my team, or he'd be a guy I'd want to have in my team if he plays on the wing, which some predicted teams have him. Otherwise, if he plays at centre, I'd probably avoid having him. Just he doesn't get anywhere near as involved in the game when he's playing centre. Like when he plays on the wing, he'll have all those kick returns and whatnot. He'll make a lot of runs, probably similar to how he would if he played fullback, to be fair. His work rate when he plays on the wing would be probably fairly similar. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, there's not too much other players to go over really. Of note are the Warriors. So that'll probably be that for this video. So yeah, if you're liking these videos, remember to hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Anyway, thanks guys. See you in the next one.